So I want to tell you this story. This is a great story. It's a true story about Adam and Eve. True. It's true, I tell you. Well, one night they were sleeping and Adam suddenly woke up and he's in this cold sweat. So naturally Eve woke up next, because it's wet, drenched. And she said, "What on earth is wrong with you, Adam? What happened?" He said, "I had this horrible nightmare. I dreamed that I had died." And Eve's like, "Well, it was so bad up there that you went into this cold sweat?" He goes, "Yeah. I got up there. I'm right in front of God himself. When he suddenly sneezed, I didn't know what to say." It took a minute, didn't it, Davica? All right, maybe it's not a true story. I wasn't there, I don't know. So the attraction, oh, see, it's gonna haunt you, isn't it? Oh, do it, Gina. I love it. Okay, so thank you. Small world. Thank you. And it truly is a small world, though, isn't it? It really is, and it's getting smaller and smaller as technology gets bigger and bigger. That attraction, though, the small world, it made its debut in 1964 at the World's Fair. And it was a salute to UNICEF and all the children of the world. The goal was to inspire those that were attending this fair to remember that we truly are all the same. We are truly one humanity. And it pulled from cultures around the world, and it showcased different lands of over 50 years. And the goal there was to provide a glimpse of the future where we could all work together as one. That was the plan. Here are some fun facts that I want to share with you about that attraction. The song plays well over 1,000 times during the day at Disney. Pretty amazing, isn't it? Think that gets in your head? It makes it more magical when you realize that song was created to be very easily translated into every single language. And the idea, again, becoming that world unifying effort. And once that Disney opened in Paris, It's a Small World played somewhere in the world every minute of every day. Pretty amazing, isn't it? I'd be crazy if I had to hear it that often. There are over 240 animated figures in that attraction. Majority children. Their faces were created to be identical. That was not an accident. The attire, the skin color, the location would change, but the attraction is a reminder that we're all the same in some way. When Small World moved from the World's Fair to Disney, Walt Disney had this great idea, and he wanted to create an incredibly special celebration, and he did. He invited children from around the world to come in their customary garb and to bring water from the closest sea to them. The children did that, willingly of course, and they brought vials which contained water from each of the 7 seas. And they commemorated the opening of that attraction by pouring the different water in the river that runs the attraction. Isn't that cool? I never knew that. And I thought that was worth sharing because, the idea of oneness has been going on for a very long time. It just hasn't caught on quite quick enough, personal opinion. The lyrics throughout that song reminds us that we all live on one planet, under one moon, under one golden sun. One. That story, that song, reminds us that world peace is absolutely possible if we work together. Because after all, we are all the same. In one way or another, we're all connected. All of us. And to show that point, I want to talk about the idea of 6 degrees of separation. Now, a degree of separation is that measure of social distance between two people. So, you're 1 degree from everyone you know, and 2 degrees from everyone they know, right? On and on and on. The facts support the idea that you are precisely 6.6 people away from every other person on this planet of nearly 7 billion people. Wow! 6 introductions away from any other person. It's kind of amazing, isn't it, when you really think about that? In 2008, Microsoft, of course, studied billions, yes, with a B, billions of electronic messages that were going back and forth throughout the entire world. And they worked out that any 2 strangers, on average, they were distanced by precisely 6.6 degrees of separation. Which means that you are linked by less than 7 or fewer acquaintances to the Dalai Lama, to the Pope, and to the Queen of England. Did you get your invitation to the wedding? Isn't that amazing? I just find that very fascinating. There was a film years ago called 6 Degrees of Separation, and one of the lines, one of the characters said this line, "I am bound, you are bound, to everyone on this planet by a trail of 6 people." That's just so powerful to me. We are bound to each other, right? We're responsible for, we are our brother's keeper. We live in a world where individualism is encouraged. And it's encouraged sometimes to the extent that we are urged to consider ourselves separate from each other. And there's nothing further from the truth. We're all inextricably linked in so many ways. Physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and by those 6 degrees of separation. So we all are connected, we all linked. Even if you put aside the spiritual idea of oneness and connection, we're still all connected. I mean, think about it. We breathe the same air. It was beautiful in the meditation as a nice reminder. We're breathing the same air as everybody. Our bodies, our physical bodies are built the same way. We all feel the same emotions. We cry tears for the same reasons. One of our core beliefs here at Common Ground Corona is that we all come from that one source. Let me repeat that and emphasize. We all come from that one source. And that one source is where we'll return, all of us. And even though we appear to be separate during our physical existence here on this planet, in truth, we're all one. The Buddha said this, "Once you are able to look at another being and see no difference at all, there is no need for harmony. For there is only oneness. This is the place the story began. And this is the end toward which all consciousness strives to return. For in truth, there is only one of us here. Wow, I just thought that was absolutely beautiful and a great reminder. So oneness is that concept that we discard all ideas of separation from anything and anyone. We let all those old beliefs, old outdated beliefs go. And there is a part of us, a part of ourselves that absolutely knows that truth. Absolutely. And that truth is in the silence. It's in our connection with God, with Source, where there are no names, where there are no things. That's how we begin to feel that connection to everyone, to the earth, to the universe, and ultimately to all that is. Oneness is what becomes accessible in that place of silence, in that place of universal energy where it acts without doing, where it keeps the entire universe in order, and it generates form from nothingness. And that is within you. Part of our human condition longs to belong in some way during our lifetime here on this earth. Everything that we do is toward the ultimate goal of feeling that sense of belonging, that sense of connection, not just fitting in and compromising at any cost. It's a sense of actually feeling comfortable with our time here and with our fellow travelers. We're always longing for that connection. That feeling of belonging is something that we're always seeking in whatever it is we do, wherever we are, whether it's in spiritual community, whether it's in our daily work, whether it's going to the grocery store. We're searching for that sense of connection, of belonging. And my belief is that we come here to learn and to experience life in a way that enhances not just us, it enhances humanity, it enhances the life of the planet, it enhances it in a spirit of love and of cooperation. Now, we as a humanity maybe aren't doing such a great job right now of that, not at least by outward appearances. That doesn't mean we stop doing our work. Actually, it means just the opposite. We do more. We stay in that space more. Now more than ever, we are called to be that light of love, that light of oneness. The responsibility is ours, right? We each and all have that responsibility. So let's take it on joyously. Let's take it on passionately. And we start doing that by building good, intimate relationships, not just with your loved one, with everyone that you come into contact with. We build those relationships. We shine that light of love. We are one big God consciousness, one heart in many human bodies. Isn't that a beautiful thought? One heart in many human bodies. This web of oneness consciousness is what connects all of us to each other. And at the very core of every religious tradition, there is much more than dogma, there's much more than concepts and rules. What's at the core is about striving for that connection with the divine and with one another. That connection of love and kindness and compassion. An inherent need for that intimate, personal connection with the divine as well as with each other. And the way we get to that core is by going to our heart. Not our head with judgment, our heart with love. Not dwelling on ideas that divide us, instead meeting at the level of our heart. That is where we recognize, where we honor and experience our sameness, our oneness with each other. It's that place where we become aware that the various traditions are actually woven into one common web. It's all the same. We're all the same. All of us are honoring that one source of all, of everything. It's the same source, no matter what you call it. It's that source that values beliefs, that values color, that values diversity, that values differences. The universe is continually changing and continually creating. And we are co-participants in that act of co-creation. Since we are co-participants in that act of creation, let's co-create the best possible existence for all and everyone. Why wouldn't we want to? Wouldn't a world where everyone recognized their divine connection to each other, a world where everyone took responsibility for themselves and the planet and all living beings, be awesome? Isn't that what we're working toward? Where everyone is equal, where everyone can experience the joy of being alive and growing and learning in nourishing ways. Have you ever heard the line, "It's easy if you try," right? It always begins right here, though. Always. Always within. As individuals, we are waking up to our magnificence. And you are magnificent, by the way. And we're waking up also to our divine connection. And we are called to lend each other that necessary support to make the transformation from living for self to living for peace and harmony of all. I'm going to close this morning with an excerpt from Dr. Wayne Dyer. He said, "If we imagine that we're free of all labels, all separation, and all judgments about this world and the life inhabiting it, we can begin to understand oneness. The place we want to enter is of simply being. We can picture the source of being as an energy that's as available to us as is the sky. There's no anger toward anyone or anything because everyone and everything is spirit. This spirit is God, our source of being. We are it, and it is who we are. We relax into the silence of where we came from. We discover the meaning of life by being able to return to the oneness and nothingness while still in material form without having to leave our body in the ritual of death. The closer," he said, "we get to experiencing our original nature, the more peace and the more purpose flows through us." And so I leave you with that thought. And I want to say thank you for being here while I shared this truth as I understand it.